have your attention, please? Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, my name is Hương from the Viet TESOL Association. To begin with, please allow me to take this opportunity to express my special honor to be the MC for the event today. On behalf of the organizing committee, I would like to warmly welcome all the delegates, distinguished guests, and all the participants to the Fulbright Alumni Conference 2021. Attending the event today, may I have the honor to introduce to you, representing for the Regional English Language Office, U.S. Embassy, Hanoi, Mr. Gerald Frank, Regional English Language Officer. Mr. Dương Lê, Vietnam Country Director, RELO Vietnam. Professor Nguyễn Hòa, the President of the Viet TESOL Association, and the Secretary Board of the Viet TESOL Association. Then our Fulbright Alumni Conference Organizing Committee, our keynote speaker, Dr. Donita Grissom from the University of Central Florida, USA, and the 19 talented Fulbright alumni from the region who will be our presenters today. Please give them a warm welcome. And on behalf of the organizers, Regional English Language Office, RELO Vietnam, and the co-host, the Viet TESOL Association, we wish to extend our warm welcome and thank you for cooperative contributions to the Fulbright Alumni Conference 2021. And a special thanks to University of Languages and International Studies, Vietnam National University, for allowing us to use this Zoom platform. Please now let me briefly introduce to you about the TEA program. The Fulbright Teaching Excellence and Achievement Program, Fulbright is a U.S. government-sponsored teacher exchange program. Fulbright brings international secondary level teachers to the United States for a 6-week professional development program at the host university and at local secondary schools. So far, approximately 50 secondary school teachers from Vietnam, Laos, and Cambodia have participated in this exchange program, and they are eager to share their innovative practices with fellow teachers. Today, we have the honor to welcome Dr. Donita Grissom and 19 Fulbright alumni who volunteer to give presentations and workshops on a variety of teaching techniques. We hope that this special occasion will be a valuable opportunity for you to expand your academic network, share your innovative ideas, and learn from your colleagues' experience. Now, on behalf of the organizing committee, may I have the honor to invite Mr. Gerald Frank, the Regional English Language Officer, to deliver his opening remark. Please welcome him.
Good morning from Tokyo. I'm sorry I don't have a nice background like everybody else does. My colleague Zong just sent it to me, but I was unable to figure out how to do it. But anyway, I'm so happy to be here. Thank you for the introduction. My name is Jerry Frank. I'm the Regional English Language Officer at the U.S. Embassy in Hanoi. My job is to promote English language learning and teaching on behalf of the U.S. State Department all across Vietnam, Laos, and Cambodia. I certainly wish we could all be here together in person for this event, but I think the bright side of COVID, if there is one, is that we've all become quite proficient at communicating virtually in these kinds of formats. But I do look forward to the day when we can all get together in person. I would like to thank everybody for getting up so early on a Sunday morning. I'm always very impressed by everybody's dedication for professional development. My special thanks to Dr. Nguyen Hoa, President of Viet TESOL. So good to see you again, sir. The organizing committee for the Fulbright T Alumni Conference, all of our Fulbright T alum, Dr. Donita Grissom, our featured speaker and specialist from the United States, and all of the teachers from Vietnam, Laos, Cambodia, our region, and people who might be joining us from across the world. I would especially like to thank my colleague, Mr. Zong Lee, for all the work that he did behind the scenes to make this conference happen today. So the Fulbright Teaching Excellence and Achievement Program, as you heard and as you know, is one of the dozens of U.S. government teacher exchange programs that are designed to facilitate mutual understanding between the United States and countries around the world. The program helps to improve participants' teaching capacity, and it promotes mutual understanding. The Fulbright T program brings international secondary level teachers to the United States on a 6-week professional development program. Participating teachers take academic seminars, observe classrooms, co-teach, and they share their expertise with American teachers and students at American host universities and at local secondary schools across the United States. The T program is one of my favorite programs, and I say that because I can see firsthand the impact that the program has on the lives of teachers. Teachers are the ultimate multipliers, and I can see when the teachers come back the impact that they have in their communities, how willing they are to share with their colleagues, and how they literally transform teaching practices in their local communities and at the regional and national level. So far, about 50 secondary teachers from Vietnam, Laos, and Cambodia have participated in this exchange program and returned home to serve in their communities. Inspired from their T experiences, many T alumni have developed and successfully implemented innovative practices or problem-solving strategies in their own classrooms, and they're always very eager to share their practices with their fellow teachers. So our virtual conference today is an opportunity for our alumni to work together as a team to contribute to teaching communities in the region, offering practical workshops and hands-on activities that will be immediately beneficial to everybody today. The conference will feature 18 Fulbright T alumni and 16 breakout sessions this morning. And like you, I'm also very excited to hear the upcoming keynote presentation by Dr. Donita Grissom. No pressure, Dr. Donita. Dr. Donita Grissom is from the University of Central Florida, the School of Education, and we are honored, the State Department, our office, our RELA office is honored to sponsor Dr. Donita at this conference today. I first met Dr. Donita in Pakistan in 2019, right? And Dr. Donita was over there on a program working with T alumni, coincidentally. And I was so inspired by her work and her activities. And I thought, gosh, I have to have her come over to Vietnam too. And I found that you also have a Vietnam connection, Dr. Donita, as you've taught and worked with many scholars, and some of them are here today. So thank you very much for agreeing to be in this. We hope that we can get you over in person when this pandemic is over, and that we can continue our work together. So before I became RELO, I was a teacher for 20 years. I consider myself still a teacher. And I know that teachers are always working on their own professional development. Things change all the time. We're growing with the times. We've seen how teachers have had to pivot during the pandemic to switch from in-person classrooms to the virtual format. And I've been very impressed by how the teachers in Vietnam, Laos, Cambodia, and teachers in our region have made this transition. You've become the leaders. People in your communities look to you for your expertise, and we're very thankful to be associated with you, and we hope that our programs in RELO Vietnam have contributed to your success in the classroom. So we're lifelong learners, and that's what today's conference is all about. Teachers helping teachers, Fulbright T alums, sharing their expertise, paying it forward, learning from each other, and most importantly, I think, building a network, staying together, staying connected, supporting each other, and as Dr. Donita spoke in her pre-conference workshop, and she will today, about hope. And we offer each other hope, we offer each other support, and our students are the hope for the future. But we really depend on you to nurture them and to help them develop into the people that they will be. So again, I'd like to thank Professor Wah and his entire TESOL K through 12 professional development team for organizing this event. A lot of work went into it. We're very grateful for everything that you do to professionalize our English language teaching community in our region. Thanks again, Zong, for your hard work. I hope everybody today enjoys the conference. You learn a lot. I hope that the conversations that begin today will continue well into the future, that you make connections, you make friends, you reacquaint with old colleagues, and that we all have a chance to grow today and have a very good Sunday. So thank you very much, and enjoy the conference.
Thank you very much, Mr. Gerald Frank, for your opening remark. Next, I am honored to invite Professor Nguyễn Hòa, the president of the Viet TESOL Association, to deliver his welcome speech. Professor Nguyễn Hòa, please.
Good morning, and thank you for your introduction. Dear Mr. Gerald Frank, my fellow teachers and TEA alumni, it's my pleasure to welcome you to our first Fulbright TEA conference in virtual space from wherever you are in Vietnam, Laos, or Cambodia. But remember, we are the real things. Just stay safe and take care of yourselves and your communities. Thank you for being part of this conference. My name is Hoa, President of Viet TESOL Association. We are both honored and excited to join Relo in hosting this event. I'm happy to learn that you had a very successful pre-conference workshop yesterday, with our guest speaker, Dr. Grissom, being the star of the day. A special welcome to Dr. Grissom from the University of Central Florida. She is going to give a keynote presentation. Thank you. And I'm reminded of the audacity of hope. I must admit that at first, the abbreviation T was a bit confusing to me. I kept thinking about it as a kind of drink. So I changed it to EAT, eat. And my translation, excellent achieving teachers. So congratulations to all of you. I know that about 50 of you from mid and high schools have made it to the United States on a 6-week PD journey. You came back from this exchange a better trained person. You have made significant contributions to enhancing ELT practices in the school systems in Vietnam, Laos, and Cambodia. And a big thank you for a job well done. The keywords now are innovation and value creation. I think this event is a good opportunity for you to share your best practices, your experiences, to do catch up and to reconnect. In Vietnam, Viet TESOL is an umbrella organization that wishes to have you in its fold. You know that we don't want to own you, but we want to help you help yourselves and others. So I am inviting you to join Viet TESOL to keep yourselves, to help yourselves and others. Just go to our website, viettesolassociation.org. So make the most of the conference, enjoy and stay safe. My final words of appreciation go to Relo and the Viet TESOL team for making this event possible in spite of the COVID. Thank you and keep going. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Professor Nguyễn Hòa, for your very inspiring opening remark. Ladies and gentlemen, now it's time for a very important section of the conference today, the keynote speech. I would like to take the honor to introduce Dr. Van Lê, the moderator of the keynote speech. Dr. Van Lê, the floor is now yours. Can you open your microphone, please, Dr. Van?
Okay, thank you so much, Ms. Mai Hương. Ladies and gentlemen, good morning. Welcome to Relo Vietnam Fulbright TEA Alumni Conference today. and thank you for joining us in this very first section, the keynote speech. My name is Hồng Vân. I'm the main moderator of this keynote speech section. I'm from Tây Nguyên University, currently located in Buôn Ma Thuột City, Đắk Lắk Province. The weather outside now is very pleasant, and I really hope that we all will have a very pleasant day at the conference today. I also have the pleasure to introduce my beautiful co-moderator, Ms. Mai Hương, for this section. She will help me to facilitate our question and answer section. It is unfortunate, though, that I do not see the participants' beautiful and handsome faces due to the limitation of this webinar platform. And so if the participants, if you can hear me well and if you can see us on the screen, please let us know by typing into the chat box where you come from, where you attend the conference from, or what the weather is like there. Mai Hương, could you tell us where you attend the conference from? Into the chat box so that everybody can do it. Yeah, a lot of participants here. We can see people from Phú Yên, from Da Nang, from Ho Chi Minh City, also from my Đắk Lắk province, from Hanoi, from Cambodia, from Lâm Đồng, from Thái Nguyên, from Ho Chi Minh City, Nha Trang, Buôn Ma Thuột City. Well, quite a few participants from my hometown. Thank you and welcome, and also welcome from Cambodia, Hanoi, Nam Định, Hong Kong as well. So many people from so many different places in Vietnam and in Asian countries as well. I'm so excited. Thank you for joining us in this very early section on a Sunday morning. Please be kindly reminded that if there is a disconnection or power outage, we encourage you to get back to our conference website where you register for the event to request for a new Zoom link. Also, during the section, please feel free to post any comment about the keynote speech, how it might impact your profession, your career, or if you have any question to address to the keynote speaker, please feel free to type it into the chat box. Ms. Mai Hương and I will help to collect them and we'll share it with our keynote speaker. She will either respond immediately or after the speech or on a Google Doc later that we might share with you after the event. Before we start, may I have the honor to introduce Dr. Grissom again, the one that many of you might have met yesterday at a very inspiring event, the workshop on scaffolding activities yesterday. Many of you might want to know that Dr. Grissom is a professional consultant, a coach, a curriculum developer, and a teacher trainer, a faculty of UCF, University of Central Florida from the United States of America. Dr. Grissom has a goal to help classroom teachers provide English learners with the tools they need to learn the language with as much ease and with as little extra time as possible. Dr. Grissom also specializes in helping teachers and students raise their hope levels through teaching them different components of Snyder's hope theory. Today, Dr. Grissom is going to share with us the power of hope. We will have the opportunities to understand what hope is and what hope theory addresses and how teachers like us can increase our hope levels and the hopes of our students. Dr. Grissom, welcome. The floor is now yours.
Thank you so much. I'm going to share my screen. And as several of you have mentioned, this is phenomenal that I can be sitting on. For me, it's still Saturday evening. And so it's Sunday morning for you. And I'm sitting in my living room and I'm speaking to wonderful teachers in Vietnam, in Cambodia, and Dr. Jerry, Frank in Japan, right? You're in Japan. And what Rose did, excuse me, Dr. Van Lee, she's my Rose, she just graduated with her PhD from the University of Central Florida. She was my graduate teaching assistant for 4 years. You didn't know that when you asked her to help. So we kind of feel like this is a special evening for us as well. So today I was reminded and I'm not trying to start with something sad, but in order for me to explain something I think I would like to explain to you, I am going to tell you a sad story. Today there was a 7.2 earthquake in Haiti, and I was reminded of when hope found me. And hope found me because my husband, my late husband, in 2011, 2012, was in Haiti after the earthquake in 2010. He was helping to rebuild the areas that were hit by the earthquake. And he was killed in a construction accident. And I had just left on a Sunday. This happened on a Thursday. So when I went back to the university, I was doing my dissertation on something completely different. And one of my professors called me in and said, okay, so what are you wanting to focus on in your dissertation? And I said, well, I was in Haiti, I was doing different kind of research, but I don't think I can do it anymore because my husband's voice is on those tapes where I was interviewing people. But I've always been concerned about the trauma that my ESOL students, my English learners, come to me with in their classrooms. So she said, well, you can't really measure trauma because it was just a little bit too much time between when the earthquake hit and with the people I was working with in Haiti. I didn't want to give up that population because if anybody knows, it's very difficult to make and establish relationships in a developing country and to do research. I had done all of that hard work and I didn't want to give that up. But she says to me, you can measure hope. Well, I began crying. It touched my heart, but I didn't have any clue what she was talking about. And so when I first thought about hope, I thought, as maybe I wonder if some of you did when you saw the title, The Power of Hope, I thought of hope more as wishful thinking or maybe just positive thinking. And through all of my research, all of my reading, and now some of my writing, I have discovered that hope is truly much more than wishful thinking. I'm not going to say there's not some wishful thinking inside of hope, because there is, but hope is critical thinking. Its foundation is in positive psychology. However, it is something that we can all have. We're all born with the capacity to have hope. We just maybe don't know how. So it's my pleasure tonight that I'm going to be able to teach you a little bit about what I've learned about hope. And I say this, I told you this story because if anyone could find hope on their most hopeless time in their lives, just like I was, and my hope has been rebuilt, anybody can have hope. And so I don't know what all of you are facing today. We've all collectively been facing this horrific pandemic. As Jerry said, we've been facing teaching online when some people have no idea how to teach online. We're facing losing our friends and loved ones to this terrible disease. And there's many, many more things that we face in our daily lives. And we just have no clue what to do. And we need each other. You know, together we're better. And you're going to find out tonight that helping each other become hope agents for each other is something very powerful within hope theory. So with that introduction, we are going to look at hope and hope theory. We're going to be talking about some very rich researched facts about hope. Snyder's hope theory is the most researched theory about hope. So that is the one that I rely upon when I'm working. And we're going to be talking a little bit later on about how you as teachers can increase the hope of your own hope in life and in your situations, your problems, your goals, and in the hope of your students. It's just really awesome that teachers have the opportunity every day.
I'm sorry, Dr. Grissom. Sorry to interrupt you. Could you check whether you are sharing the screen or not?
Yes, I am sharing the screen. It says you are screen sharing. It says that on my screen.
Can you stop the sharing and share again?
Yeah.
I'll be happy to.
Yes. Thank you so much.
Yes, you're welcome. Can you see it now?
Yes.
Okay, great.
Can you see the screen better now? Can you type into the chat box to check? Thank you.
And can you hear me?
Looks good now.
Yeah.
Looks good.
Thank you.
Can you hear me? We're good? Okay, great. I don't have my chat on, by the way, so
Yeah.
Rose, I'm sorry. It's such a habit of mine to call you Rose. Dr. Van Lee, if you would monitor that for me, because I need to have my screen big. You know, I'm older, so I have to see it bigger. Okay.
Thank you so much. Yes.
Okay. So I was about to say, once you hear what I have to say about hope tonight, you're going to see that as teachers, you have the wonderful opportunity every day of your life to help your students and your fellow teachers to increase their hope. And we're going to learn and we're going to see how. Okay? So let's go to what is hope? So I'm glad that you're thinking and asking that question inside of your head right now. See, I'm seeing into your mind. I'm thinking, I'm teasing. I'm a big tease, okay? I can't help it. So here is the definition of hope according to the late C.R. Snyder. It starts with the word perceived. Now, perceived is a word, we have different outlooks on life, on things. We look at things differently. So hope begins with your individual perception, how you see your personal ability to produce a strategy or a way, the means, the how-to, with motivation. Motivation, we're going to discover, is more than just thinking I can. It's I will meet a goal or solve a problem. So let me put that in a little bit simpler terms. In order to have true hope, there's three components. You have a goal or a problem. Any goal, any problem. It can be personal. It can be educational. It can be social. It can be any type of a goal. And it must have a strategy or a pathway. That's how am I going to meet that goal? What are the things I'm going to do? Okay? And you must have the motivation or the agency factor, that willpower. And it's the idea that maybe not, I wish I could, I hope I can. No, it's I am going to meet this goal, and this is how I'm going to do it. And by the way, motivation is more than just that. Okay, it is, it's the energy that it takes to work those things, those steps. Okay, so for example, some people have a goal or they have a problem, and maybe they know some steps they should take, but if their thinking is I'm afraid, or I don't quite have the confidence to try, that would be in the motivation part, then they're less likely to work those steps. Therefore, they probably won't reach their goal. There are some people that have a lot of motivation. They really want to do whatever it is that their goal is. They really want to lose 10 pounds or maybe more, whatever. But they really don't know how. And they've tried and tried different strategies, different ways, and it's never worked. So therefore, they don't lose 10 pounds, okay? That's just a simple way to put it. So we can apply this definition of hope in any area of our lives. Now, here's a wonderful thing, and another story about Haiti. When I was there, I wondered why there were people sitting on the side of the road, and they weren't doing anything, and there was all of these half-made buildings. And what they explained to me is they felt hopeless. They didn't know what to do because people had come to help, and well-meaning people had come to help, but they hadn't taught them how to do the construction. So they were left with no money and no instruction on how to finish these buildings, and therefore they felt hopeless. And the reason I bring that up out there felt hopeless about something in their life? Well, I would dare say probably all of us in one day of our life or in different situations in our life. And so the wonderful thing is research tells us that what I'm doing right now, that just teaching you about hope, about the 3 elements or constructs of hope, about all the facts of hope, what hope can do for us, and how we can help each other with our hope. This one thing is the beginning of your hope increasing. So you don't have to sit on the side of the road and wonder, what am I going to do? You may not know what you're going to do tonight, but what you will leave with is the notion things don't have to stay the same. You may not have that hope agent yet, but you're going to have that motivation to find someone to help you, okay? You may not know how you're going to solve some of your problems or reach some of your goals, but you're going to know that you can. And knowing you can kind of gets you excited, and it raises your hope level, so you get off the floor or get off the ground and you move. See, you're going to find out tonight that hope is always a choice. Are you going to try this or not? It's up to you. It's always up to you, okay? So these are the kinds of things that you can do for your students as well. And I'm sure we all have many stories we can tell about how you've really done these things. Maybe you just didn't know exactly what you were doing when you were encouraging and motivating your students. But more than that, giving them specific strategies, okay? So let me move on and tell you a little bit more exciting facts about hope theory. And all of these facts are based in a lot of research. I decided to just give you the facts. Trust me, and if you want more references, I can give them to you. But these are some things I've pulled out of hope theory. Hopeful people just automatically spread hope. They're infectious. There's nothing that they don't think they can try and accomplish. And guess what? They'll make you believe it too. Okay? And I love this because it's what I'm doing right now. Hope can be taught. You can learn it. Maybe you weren't raised in a home where your parents encouraged or motivated you. Okay? Or maybe they just didn't know how. I've had lots of students who thought that they weren't going to ever be able to accomplish things in their life because they were told their whole life that they wouldn't amount to anything. They wouldn't achieve anything. And that's all that they knew. But, I would have the opportunity to show them, hey, you're an excellent writer, or you're a wonderful musician. You know, let's focus on the things that you're really good at. So in doing all of those things, or some of those things, I was able to help students and guide students into their natural gifts and callings, and raise their hope levels for their whole outlook on life. You could do this every day, and I'm sure you do it anyway. Hope can increase, so that's what we're talking about. We're going to be talking about increasing our hope. It can decrease, especially with a traumatic event, but it doesn't have to stay that way. And as a matter of fact, there's been a lot of research about people who have gone through traumatic events, and the people who measure higher in hope are able to maneuver through a traumatic event easier than people who measure lower in hope. And I'm not saying they're not going to feel pain, okay? And I'm not trying to give you some magical idea that everything in life's going to be rosy. I'm not even saying that at all. But what I am saying is, whatever is happening, you don't have to stay the way that you are or what you're feeling. That trauma, yes, it happened. However, working through it, you're going to be able to work through it, okay? You're going to be able to wake up if you've experienced a traumatic loss, and you're going to be able to wake up one day. You're going to have some rough days, but you're going to be able to wake up and say, you know what? I want to live again. I'm ready. And it happened to me, and it can happen for anyone. Hope is a choice, and I said that earlier. You have the choice if you want to sit on the side of the road and be hopeless, or do you want to take steps towards reaching your goal or solving your problem. And hopeful people, and when they think with hopeful thinking, they have more self-esteem and self-worth. And we can help our students with that. High hope is related to higher scholastic and social competence. I have thoroughly researched the academic research regarding hope, and the Gallup poll in the United States has completed so much research about this, and they have found that students who have higher hope achieve much better than students who have measured lower in hope. And that got me really excited, and that got me started thinking, you know, I have to help teachers do this for their students. And also, 4 of the major researchers regarding hope and hope theory have passed away. And so that helped me think I have to take the baton and run with it, because someone has to. So this is what I'm trying to do. And I've already mentioned that hope, having higher hope, gives you more strength when you do have a negative life event. We're all going to have them of some sort or another. And having this hopeful thinking will help you maneuver that life event. Hopeful people see the future as better than the present, and they believe they can make it better. And I love this. Hope is not related to intelligence. So you do not have to have a very high IQ to be able to have hopeful thinking. And the next one is really true and dear to my heart. Hope is not related to income, because how many of you know teachers, they're not millionaires unless they marry rich or something like that. And so I don't have to have a lot of money, okay, to have hopeful thinking. And so that was really encouraging to me when I learned that fact. I'm having to move your faces onto the other side of the screen because I can't see my PowerPoint. Okay. Higher hope people perform better at work, and they have a higher well-being, and they live longer. You know, it's so much more fun to go into work when you're working with happy people? How many have you had mean bosses or mean coworkers? I mean, they're just mean. They don't smile. They're not happy. And, you know, I have found that when I put teams of people together and we work at being happy and working with each other, we get so much more completed, and we have fun doing it. So I just love that fact. And here's another one. When we encounter people with big goals and that have higher hope, this is some brain research. This is where I found this fact. Our brains are primed to follow them, just like little ducks. We're going to follow you because it's like I said earlier, it's infectious. You want to be around people who have this higher hope levels because they're happy and they are encouraging. They will try to help you, give you ideas, and it makes you feel like, hey, you know what? I can do this. I'm going to do this. Hope leads to a 12% gain in academic performance. This was one of the facts that was gathered by the Gallup poll in the United States. Wow, I could stop right there and preach on that one all night, right? How many of us want our students to achieve 12% higher gain, right? Just by having their thinking more hopeful. That, to me, is just really awesome. If I can persuade my students that they can do math, and by the way, I'm not good at math, or they can write that 5-paragraph essay or whatever it is, they can do that. If they'll pay attention to me, I can teach them how to write that essay. I can get my math friend to help my students with math because, like I said, I don't do math very well. But nevertheless, we can help our students to get this higher scholastic performance, academic performance. And high hope people are just plain happier people than their low hope friends, okay? So these are some powerful facts. I have a few more if you would like to know just a few more. The students, hopeful students have higher overall grade point averages. They experience less test anxiety. I loved that fact as well. I thought that was very interesting. I'm a high hope person. I do get really stressful when taking tests, but hopefully I have more hope now. Maybe I wouldn't have that stress anymore, or maybe I'm just older and I don't care so much anymore. I don't know which one it is, but well, I'll take the high hope one, okay? How many of you had students who are just stuck and they get discouraged and they just don't have the energy to get things done? They may make a million excuses why they're stuck. You know, they locked their dog, chewed up their homework, or, you know, whatever the case may be, they give you excuse after excuse. But if the truth be known, a lot of those students just need someone to believe in them. I always have to stop and tell this little story. I'm a storyteller, if you can't tell. I had a little boy named Billy. And my very first teaching gig was teaching music. And I didn't have, I do sing, and I do play the keyboard, no music, but I didn't have a degree. But anyway, so I had little Billy. And Billy was the little boy that if I said, everybody stand up, he would sit down. Or if I said, everybody sit down, he would stand up. Anybody have one of those Billies in your class, right? So Billy was always getting in trouble. He was always discouraged. He was my class clown and everything else. So I tried something one day. I said, hey, Billy, why don't you come have lunch with me? Why? What did I do? Just come have lunch with me. So Billy came to have lunch with me, and I said, hey, Billy, my board needs to be erased. Would you mind erasing my board? So he did. He erased my board. And I said, Billy, you did such a fantastic job erasing my board. Thank you so much. And he was really stunned, right? he thought, I guess, I was going to, get on to him. But really, in truth, I was working very hard to find something good about Billy, and it was erasing the board. Well, at this point in time, I didn't know anything about hope theory, but I did learn something about Billy during this time. Guess who came the next day to have lunch with me? He was uninvited, right? It was Billy. Oh, can I erase your board today? Oh, yes, Billy, yes, you are the best. You can do this. So every day, guess who came to have lunch with me? It was Billy. And this is a true story, by the way. So what I found out about Billy was one day we were having back to school parents or something like that. And Billy runs down the hall with this man. And he said, oh, man, I want you to meet my dad. I haven't seen my dad since I was 2 years old. Wow. I've learned so much that night. Billy was discouraged, but it was because he wanted his dad to be around. He was sad, but I didn't know this during the time. And so I'm telling you this story because sometimes when you have those Billies in your class, you don't know what's behind their actions. And for Billy, he was sad. He missed his dad, and he was able to share that with me because I was able to find something that Billy could do, and that was erase the board. Oh, but by the way, I did ask Billy to be in one of our musicals, and the teachers thought I was crazy. But Billy turned out to be one of the best bears. I tell you, he was wonderful. And I think it's just because I found something he could do, and I listened to him. So this is part of being that hope agent as a teacher. Even if you can't find something positive, make something up, find something, let them erase your board, let them sharpen your pencils, find something that you could start motivating them about. It has to be specific though, you really can't make it up. I'm just teasing you there. But anyway, so even if they're stuck and discouraged, you need to help them. Help them find something they can do so you can encourage them. Low hope students just give up. If there's a barrier, meaning something gets in their way, they try something, see that didn't work, why bother? You're going to hear that if you haven't already heard it. I've heard it 1,000 times. Well, guess what? Sometimes things just don't work. What may work for me may not work for you. So we need to come up with other strategies. And we'll talk more in depth about that a little bit later. But you're going to recognize low hope students when you hear comments like that. And what my colleague and I, who we just finished, and actually we just published an article, what we found is that although hope is a crucial ingredient for teachers, for people, for parents, for students, we found out in our recent study that teachers really don't know what hope is. And they don't really know how to increase hope, and they don't know how to help their students. So that has given me this greater quest in coming up with a lot of strategies. And the first strategy is doing what I'm doing now, just letting you know overall what hope is, what it is not. And I'm going to give you a few strategies tonight, by the way. But this is a beginning of what we can do to help teachers understand. And if they understand what hope is, they can put it into action more in their personal lives and in helping their students. So let's talk about the characteristics of a hopeful and a lower hope person. Okay, so higher hope people are going to set more goals versus lower hope people. They're going to set them because they have the belief that, hey, they can achieve them. So they set very specific goals. You will notice when you start paying attention that lower hope students, they're very vague about their goals because honestly, they really don't know. They're not sure, they're unsure of themselves. So maybe they will set a goal, but it's going to be vague. But higher hope people, No, they're going to be very specific because they are highly motivated to achieve that goal. But they also want to be very realistic about their goals, okay? Because like I said, hope is not wishful thinking. It's not, because a wish is something you want to happen, but if you don't have a plan and you don't have the energy to perform the plan, it's just unrealistic, as a low hope person would think. So they may make a very unrealistic goal knowing, hey, I'm not going to do that. Just to appease you as a teacher, they may do that. A high hope person, they're okay with having goals that require effort because they understand it takes effort to achieve a goal. Versus low hope people, they're going to take what we call the low road, not the high road. In other words, if it's easy, okay, maybe I'll try it. If it's not, count me out, I'm not going to do it. And you know, most of the time it's because of just their thinking, their negative thinking. They don't believe in themselves, or they just really don't know how. So they're gonna lay low, okay? High hope people, they focus on relevant information because it's something they've learned. The more you can find out about your problem or the goal that you want to solve, actually the more pathways or strategies you can develop on your own. However, low hope people are going to tell you everything, every reason why this won't work. You heard that before? This will never work. I'm not even going to try. Those are the kinds of things that you will hear from a low hope person. High hope people, as we've said, they approach goals. Low hope people avoid them. High hope people have a lot of positive self-talk. They believe that they can do things. They will tell you they can. And that's really what they're thinking. Versus low hope people, their brains are primed towards the negative, and they're going to be fearful. They're going to be self-condemning. They're going to be pessimistic. And I'm not saying it's because they want to, it's just they don't really know how to think any other way. High hope people will create multiple pathways or strategies to reach goals. And if they run into a barrier or something that doesn't work, they'll just create another pathway. Whereas low hope people really don't come up with a lot of strategies on their own because they just don't know how. So this is some more characteristics. I have a few more. High hope people have that motivation, and I call motivation like the gasoline in our tank. It's that energy, okay? Because some days are going to be easier than others. Some tasks or strategies will be easier than others. It's going to take energy to get up and take that walk in the morning because you want to get in shape, or to go to the gym or ride the bike or whatever it is. And I use that a lot because a lot of us have been through that where we want to lose weight. So I always use that goal as an illustration. But if you sit at home and just watch TV and watch programs of other people working out, but you're just watching them, you're not gonna lose any weight, right? So you got to have that energy. You got to take those first steps, and you got to keep moving. And I've already talked to you about high hope people creating alternative pathways and being they are very successful in their goal pursuit because they don't stop. They view their obstacles as a challenge, and they use their strategies to strengthen their motivational thinking. Versus a low hope person who does not have as many skills in creating other pathways. They don't believe that they're going to be successful. They get discouraged when they have obstacles. And they tend to think about their previous failures. A high hope person will focus on the goals. A low hope person is easily distracted. I want to stop there and pause for a moment because some of our problem children in our classes get distracted easy, and we have to understand that there's some thoughts going on. You can't see those thoughts, but if you listen as they're in the classroom or on the playground or, you know, at the lunch break or wherever, you may hear some things come out of their mouth and that will tell you what they're thinking about themselves. And it causes them to get distracted. So it's another reason we want to pay attention, and we're going to talk about a few ways that we can help them with these distractions and with these negative thoughts. And high hope people have confidence versus low hope people have a lack of confidence. So those were some more facts and characteristics about hope and people with high hope. So I want to focus now on what we can do with goals, with goal setting with your students. So teaching and learning is all about goals, right? I mean, we have goals tonight. We're reaching those goals. Every day we have a goal. Language learning, it's a huge goal, okay? But inside of language learning, we have to set feasible goals, meaning we have to break it up into smaller chunks, right? Smaller pieces, because you're not going to learn the whole language in a month or even a year, right? So we have to set reasonable, feasible goals for our students. And as they reach those, I call them sub-goals, we celebrate. We celebrate every success all along the way, because that celebration is a filling station. It's like putting more gasoline in the tank, because every time a student or a person is successful in every little piece of a goal or performing a strategy to solve a problem, it gives them more hope to continue to reach the next goal or work the next pathway, okay? So we need to be helping our students with those goals, and with, you know, sometimes they're going to have a blockage with the goal. We have to teach them how to re-goal as well. So we need to become, I have what I call a hope action plan. So I sit down with my students and we work off of goals, and we break it down into sub-goals, and we decide what we're going to do for celebration all along the way. And just like Billy, it works. You know, when I was teaching high school ESOL, my students did not like to put periods at the end of sentences. I don't know why, but they just refused to. So I started noticing when they would put a period, and I would give them specific praise. I love how you put that period at the end of the sentence. And guess what? I started getting periods all day long at the end of sentences, because that specific praise gave them motivation to want to do the things that I was praising them for, right? So giving them praise will help increase their motivation. So in saying that, that's what I just explained, that's like a clear marker. Instead of just saying, I want you to get good grades, you need to tell them how. Or I want you to study for your test tonight. Well, we have to be specific on how they are to do that. So what does that mean? You want me to study? Some students just don't know how to study. So we need to break it down very clearly, those strategies about learning. How do I get ready for that math exam? Well, show them, do it with them, mentor it for them, model it for them, and then give them specific praise. I noticed how much better you did on that test because we practiced whatever it was you practiced. You want to give them specific praise because guess what? You want them to repeat. You want them to repeat that strategy, right? So they will perform better. Okay, I'm going to come down here because I've already I get to talking and then I kind of forget where I am. I'm sorry, on the page. So that's just me talking from my heart, my mind. So we want to support this keep going thinking. So when you hear a student say, oh, I'm just going to give up. I knew I wouldn't do good on that test, so I'm not even going to try anyway. What does it matter? Well, we have to stop that thinking, and I call it arresting. We're going to arrest that thought. And so as teachers, we can help our students with their thinking by practicing the right kind of talk about themselves. So for example, if I have a student that says, I knew I wouldn't make it anyway, I'm going to quit trying, I'm going to teach my class as a whole. I'm not going to point them out, but I'm going to teach my class as a whole some positive affirmations and what to do when they're thinking they're a loser or I knew this was going to happen anyway. So I'm going to practice that in the classroom. And it's good language practice as well, but it's also a practice. And so, for example, I don't allow that negative self-talk in my classroom. So I'm going to encourage, but I'm going to also teach them specific positive thinking about themselves. Now, all of this has to work together because if it can't be just saying it and not doing it. So it's something we have to practice. We have to, I do a lot of speak alouds, I guess you would say. For example, I'll say, you know, I tried this, but it didn't work the first time. But you know what? I'm going to try again because I really believe that I'm going to be able to do this. Maybe I need to go to my teacher next door and get some more ideas from her, because I want to model that kind of thinking for my students so they can learn to do the same thing in life, okay? So I find another person to help me. That's something that we need to do to help our students. We need to model and teach them to ask for help. Sometimes they don't want to ask for help, they're embarrassed, right? Okay, so let's look at pathways for a minute, what we can do for our students as far as pathways. So we need to help them with several different paths because, as I said earlier, one pathway may work for one student, but it may not work for another because we're not all the same, right? So we're able to help them with different pathways and to reach their goals or solve their problems, but we have to help them. I always tell my daughter, she'll say, well, we'll just let my granddaughter's 11 and her name is Ella. Maybe we'll just let Ella figure that out. And I'm like, she didn't pop out knowing how to do this. You've got to help her with these thinking strategies. And so we have to always be helping them. We can maybe give them a choice, okay? But we can't rely on the children to always know what to do. We have to teach them, okay? And we have to teach them if one way doesn't work, we're going to try something else. We're not going to give up. So we want to teach multiple pathways, okay? And I want them to be thinking about their goals always, because if they're thinking about their goals and they have that I'm going to keep going attitude, they're not going to get stuck, okay? And can you just imagine your classroom with all of these hopeful children? Can you imagine how they will start helping each other? That's a beautiful thing. I've had that happen because why? I fostered that atmosphere in my classroom, okay? And you always remind them, you can always ask for help. Always. And actually on the Hope Action Plan, for every goal that we make, they have to write, who are they going to ask if they need help? Because I always want them to know who they need to go to. And then on the motivation factor, I've been giving you some ways that you can help your students enhance their agency thinking. And some of that is by noticing their negative thinking, their negative actions. So when you notice it, then we're going to turn it around to those I can do messages. And so I've talked about that and how I practice that in my classroom together, especially if we have that community time together in the classroom. That's when we practice that. And I always model that keep going thinking. And I love teamwork activities because this is the way we can help them together, to work together with a goal, to work together to incorporate strategies, and to motivate one another. And so I love task and projects and classroom tasks. I love learning stations. I did that in high school. My colleagues thought I was crazy, but it works. It worked for me, and we did exciting things, and they turned out to be incredible hope agents for each other. And as I have told you tonight,
Dr. Prism, I'm sorry to interrupt. Let me send you a friendly reminder that although the topic is very insightful, we have only about 3 minutes.
Okay, well, I think I only have 3 minutes of left. Yeah, I'm almost at the end. Thank you for that reminder. So as I've told some stories tonight, you can incorporate your hopeful, pointing out the 3 constructs of hope. When you're looking at literature and stories, you can look at the characters and you can talk about what their goals were. You could talk about what their strategies were to reach those goals or solve those problems in stories, and what was their motivational thinking or not, what could they have done different. And so literature and English language arts through ESOL or through English as a foreign language, it becomes a beautiful place that we can talk about the elements of hopeful thinking through others inside of stories. So that's a really nice place to do that. And I'll stop there. You have those hopeful teachers. This is what you can bring to your students every day. Your testimony and your way you live your life as hopeful people will help your students become more hopeful. And I have included in here this hope assessment and what the scores are. So when you go home tonight, I believe this will be available to you. You can take this little hope assessment, and this is you can take it yourself. I tell you how to do it here, and I tell you what the scores mean, so you can know where your hope is. I'm sorry, that's my puppy, and she's had enough of me talking, I think. And also here's the link to the recent article, and you can join my Facebook page. And thank you so much. You are all incredible, hopeful people. Thank you for having me here this evening.
Thank you so much, Dr. Prism, for this very informative, interesting, and really powerful presentation of the power of hope. I'm deeply touched, and I feel the same things from our participants, from their sharing on the comments on the chat. It is really such a privilege for us all to listen to this sharing of yours during this challenging pandemic time. And I believe that we not only extend our knowledge about hope, but we also feel inspired and empowered to increase our hope level, to protect ourselves and also our learners against fear, frustration, and doubt that we are all probably facing. There are so many comments and questions for you in the chat box and also in the question and answer sections. Unfortunately, the time for the question and answer is very limited. So we hope that we can have further discussion on this topic in the near future. And for now, Dr. Prism will hopefully respond to some of your questions here, and most of the other questions from the Google Drive link later on that we might probably share with our participants later on. Reading on the comments, I can read some of the very positive comments to you about the keynote speech. Thank you for introducing the theory. I love this. It's what many of us need, especially in this COVID pandemic. And I learned more about this after the speech. My countryside students have very little hope in English and they refuse to learn. The question is, how can we teach our students who are a very hopeless one into a hopeful one? That is the one question that I think many of the participants are asking. Could you help with that?
I will try to help with that. So one thing that we talked about when I was in Pakistan, we spent a whole morning talking about this very topic. There are a lot of students who they didn't want to learn. They had to, but they didn't want to. So we spent a large amount of time discovering as a team, why do they need to learn English? And then we came up with some incredible reasons. So I would suggest as a team in Vietnam that you would come up with a strong why. Because once you discover that strong why do they need to learn English? Then as teachers, you can portray that to your students and connect it with something that interests them. And when you do that, then yes, your goal is still the same, to teach them how to learn English, but you're connecting with that student, giving them, this is the strong why. So for example, in Pakistan, we learned that getting jobs would require knowing English, or getting a good job. We also learned that a lot of the medical and legal documents were written in English. So to be able to understand, connect with those types of, in the medical world or the professional world, you would need to learn English. So find a strong why, and then develop your English goals around topics that are important to those students. That would be a little bit of my suggestions there.
Thank you so much. So the strong why will lead to the powerful how, right?
Yes.
Thank you. Yes, I have another very interesting question for you from the audience. Do you think it is okay to give false hope?
I'm sorry, to do what?
To give false hope.
False hope?
False, not true.
Oh, so false hope it's a thing, but I do not think we should give false hope, because then you're setting someone else up for more failure. It's better to be, remember I said realistic goals? We need to be realistic. And so there's some things, for example, I just can't do anymore, okay? And I know that physically, let's just say. But for whatever the goal is, I want to be realistic. So I'm going to do the things that I can do. Okay? So I'm going to give up.
Yes.
We'll be realistic. Mm-hmm.
Thank you so much. And we may have time for another questions. What sources of willpower can help us to keep energized or maintain our motivation to reach our desired goals of hope?
So what sources
of willpower can help us to keep energized or maintain our motivation?
So we have learned that people garner their willpower from a lot of different sources. It could be family, it could be friends, as we've talked about. It could be their spiritual life. We found hope is a thread that runs through every major religion, which I found fascinating. We can garner that willpower just because of our successful goal pursuits in the past, and it gives us, remember, that self-confidence. So those are a few ways that we garner that strength and that willpower to keep on going, right?
Yes. Could I have the last question here? How can we teach students about hope and to be hopeful? So probably many of the teachers would like to raise the hope level of our students during these days. So could you kind of specify some specific strategies to raise the hope levels for the English learners?
Well, we could be here all day and all night and all next week if if for me to answer that question. So Jerry's going to try to get me to Vietnam, and so we'll have lots of time to do that once I can go there. Focus on goals. Focus on setting those goals, and focus on providing strategies and providing specific attention to motivation in everything you do. Okay, now when I have workshops, we get real specific on how to do that. We just didn't have, I didn't have the time tonight. But if you focus on the three main elements of hope, you will raise hope levels. If I were to have taken your hope assessment tonight at the beginning and at the end, which we didn't have time to do that either, we would notice little arrows up in your hope just because we've taught you what it is. So I always suggest to teachers, teach children what hope is. Teach them the things I've taught you tonight. There's been several research projects that have done this, and just that very exercise of teaching children how this thinking process works and how to put that hope action into place, it helps them to raise their hope levels. I can do this. I can do anything. Okay? So I know that's a general answer, but we don't have the time to go into the details. But I think all of you teachers, you understand goal setting. I think you have learned a lot. You will have my PowerPoint, and hopefully we can work more about this in the future.
Yes, I do believe that so many teachers are hooked on this topic, and they show deep interest in the topic and for further discussion. And we really hope that you will have another opportunity to come to Vietnam in person and to be providing more insightful discussion on this. And for now, since the time is limited, so we hope that we can share with you so many other comments and questions to you. And if you have time, you can respond to the participants' questions in writing, and we will share with the participants from the Google Link Drive later on, together with other materials of the conference. For now, we really appreciate your very informative, interesting, and powerful speech. And to recognize your contribution, I think Relo Vietnam and Viet TESOL would like to present you with the certificate of the keynote speakers. Ms. Mai Hương, could you display the certificate? And we would like to invite Dr. Frank and Professor Hoa to present the certificate to Dr. Grissom.
Thank you so much.
Everybody clapping your hands for Dr. Grissom.
Thank you so much. It's been so much fun.
Thank you so much. And now, Ms. Mai Hương, could you help the participants to guide them on how to continue with other sections? On behalf of the organizers, I really appreciate all participants for your valuable time to attend our first section in the keynote section this morning. And we hope that you have gained valuable knowledge and insights in the topics, and also will enjoy the rest of the conference. Mai Hương, the floor is yours now.
Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Grissom, for a meaningful and inspiring speech. And thank you, Dr. Van Le, for your excellent support. Ladies and gentlemen, it's now time to move on the conference with the sharing from practitioners in the parallel sessions. As you know, we have 5 parallel sessions starting at 9:15. I would like to notify the steps to access the parallel sessions as follows. Step 1, you can go to the event website at fulbright.eventbrite.com and log into your account to click the link there. Or you can go to the chat box and you will have the direct link to these 5 sessions in the chat box. For step 2, you choose the parallel session that you would like to attend and click to the direct link provided in the chat box or in the event website. And then for step 3, Remember that to receive a certificate for today, please respond to the survey in the provided link right after your participation in the parallel sessions. The link to the survey will be posted by the moderators of the parallel sessions by the end of the conference today. And please be notified that the link to the survey will only be valid until 2 p.m. today only. And we will now have 5 minutes break before switching to the parallel sessions of the conference, which will start at 9:15. Thank you all and hope to see you in the parallel session. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Goodbye.
Good night.
You're doing a great
Thank you so
job.
much.
Thank you so much for spending
And,
time with
Bye.
us.
well. So we'll be leaving this room. Enjoy the parallel sessions, right?
Yes, yes.
Thank you. Good night.
Thank you. That was awesome.
Good
Thank you,
night,
Dr.
Dr.
Dunita.
Thank you, Jerry. Thank you for having me. I appreciate it. Talk to
It was
you
awesome. I
soon.
can't wait to bring you in person.
Good night, Dr. Grissom.
Be
I
safe.
look forward to that.
You too.
I look forward to Dr. Grissom coming in person.
Yes. Bye-bye. Thank you for everything. And
Good night, and
let me know,
enjoy
let
the
me
rest
know
of
how,
the party.
I will. Let me know how to answer the questions. I'm not sure where I need to go, so you can help me.
Okay, we will send you the link. Okay, Michael, you help me to collect all the questions here and send it on
Yes,
to
yes,
Dr. Grissom.
already. Yeah.
Okay,
Thank
thank
you.
you so much. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.
See you.
Thank you, Jerry. Have a good day in Japan. It's good to see you, right? Okay.
You
I
too.
think everything is going well, right?
Going fantastic. Thank you very much.
Let me start with the recording.